Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Friday. It's Chat with Mac. Of course, we thank you for joining us. If you're new to our little podcast here, welcome. And Nadeem, how are you, sir?
Oh, doing great. Can't
Yeah.
complain. I just got my second shot, so
Oh
I'm a
man,
little.
I can tell. Good Lord, I can. Nadeem is usually, you know, Mr. Upbeat. I mean, it helps me because man, I'm drained by the time we get to Friday, and this is like the highlight of my week. But Nadeem right now is, that shot is getting to him right now. So
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna sleep it off. Tomorrow's Saturday,
that's
so
that's all you can do. That's all
yeah.
you can do. So speaking of sleeping, funny segue. So Apple in the news today, they're really confirming what you talked about at the very beginning, not even the beginning of this year. It was like last year where you felt like the workplace was about to change. It was going to go from strictly being in the office to the majority of workers being at home. And Tim Cook seems like Apple's getting ready to shift from the traditional, or they're going to do a hybrid. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah.
Yeah. So Apple, it's always going to be hybrid in two ways. One is, of course, they're thinking about hybrid workplace where a lot of people are still going to keep working remotely. Whether it's at home or wherever they are. But the other part of the hybrid approach to Apple is that Apple is always going to have two sets of devices or two different platforms, right? And that's kind of intriguing. So instead of having one device do it all, which is what Microsoft's thinking is, they're saying we're just going to keep it separate and have two devices because if an OS is designed for one interface, it does not work very well with the other ones. So
Mhm.
if an OS is designed for mouse, it doesn't work very well um, with the touch interface, and that's what they're focusing for. Now, the thing is, one of the things that happened with the M1 coming up in iPad is, Apple was already one of the faster, or actually it was the fastest tablet available. It was the fastest tablet available to do, anything in like any of the apps in iOS. They just work better. It was fast. It was fluent. It was a good interface. And then when they put the M1 chip in the iPad, now it's like it was already the fastest platform, and now it's like many times faster. It's like almost a different generation. Um, it would be akin to somebody who all of a sudden got access to alien technology and just catapulted computing. It's not alien technology; it was available to us, but nobody ever put that fast of a chip in a tablet. So, so I'm thinking a little differently too. So yeah, one part of the equation is yes, Apple is more focusing on people who are going to be working remotely. And when people are going to be working remotely, they're going to be not as tied to the chair in the office as they would if they were in the office. They're not always going to have that huge ThinkPad in front of them. They're going to have that tablet and this conversation that I'm having now, I had with a friend of mine when the iPads first came out. And he said, "Look, I don't even carry my phone with me. It's no use. I just have my iPad and my phone. My calls just ring into on the iPad, and it's my computing platform. I get in the car, I throw it in the back seat. I don't have to worry about it."
Mhm.
And this was back when iPad first came out, and it's like, okay, well, now I see it can work that way where all like I can have just my iPad with me. I don't need my phone. I don't need anything. I can take my calls on my iPad. We can record these meetings via my iPad. We can do everything on my iPad. So uh, along with the, with that M1 chip, it really changes the landscape where I can do a lot of pretty much everything that I want to do. I can do it on my iPad, and I've already tested this. So there was and I forget it, was it 2 weeks or 1 week, but there was a time where I exclusively used iPad, and this was, I think it's the second gen iPads, or maybe the first gen when they first came out, just to prove that all my day-to-day work can be done from an iPad. And it
Mm,
can. I was able to work. Yeah, I wasn't as fast, but I was able to get everything done from my iPad. So now with the M1 chip, I'm thinking that's really going to, bring everything to the next level. And that plays very well with what Apple's thinking is, and that is people are going to be working remotely, people are going to be working from their homes, people want to grab that tablet, they want to be connected to work, but take that tablet and sit outside by the pool or whatever. So
yeah.
that's what, Apple's thinking is, and I think we are there. I don't think people are going back to the office. I don't think that's going to happen. There's going to be a little shift once things open up. There are going to be some people going back to the office, but I think majority of them are going to keep working remotely.
Let me ask you this, Nadeem. Do you think, and you brought up the technology that Apple has with the M1 chip and iPads and things of that nature. Do you think that there are verticals and outside of manufacturing and things of that nature, but it would seem to me that there isn't a vertical, be it IT, be it whatever, that wouldn't be able to go strictly from home, especially since now we do have the technology. So, what do you think is keeping a lot of businesses from following suit? Is it micromanaging? What do you think it is?
Well, so right now there are not a lot of companies that are forcing users to come into the office, right? I mean, even in manufacturing, if people are not required on the assembly line, in management, that they're told, just work from home. Why do you need to come
Hmm.
in?
Hmm.
So I don't think it's that. There is a lot of other stuff that happens that companies require people to come into the office for, and this could be, maybe it's security related, maybe it's uh, you have to interact with others and work as a team. That egg hasn't been cracked. Like, that face-to-face communication, it hasn't been cracked where you can touch and feel a device. Like, if you're in R&D and you're designing something, you want to be able to hold that mock-up and talk about it. I mean, so yeah, we have HoloLens and all that, but it's not the same experience. It's so in those kind of instances, we still have people that are going to be interacting with each other or working in small teams, or small pods. And then there comes the equation of, okay, so if you are working in R&D and you are developing something new, and you are working in a team in the office, there is a security aspect to that. You can't just take that mock-up outside of the office.
Gotcha.
So you have to work if you want to work with that. But the thing is, majority of people who could work remotely in the past were not working remotely, but now they can. And I think
Yeah.
those people are not going to come back. I mean, we see it like in our customer base, manufacturing firms, where they told all their managers, hey, you got to work from home, and only the assembly line people are coming in to work, because I mean, they have to physically work on the assembly line. Everybody else, they just work remotely, and it's been working well. And these are the same companies who were saying, oh no, we work, in the office, we can't work, you know you talk about remote work just a year ago, and they were like, oh no, we can't do that, we can't function like that. And then all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit, and they were like, hey, can you enable us to work remotely like you were talking about? And all of a sudden now they wanted to work remotely. And these people have started working remotely, and they love it. I mean, they have actually seen the same benefit that we saw when PCSN first worked remotely, and this was way back when. um, that people are more productive if you give them more options to work, you know across any time. One of the things that I noticed was people, in the middle of the night, they'll be working, and I was like, hey, what are you doing? It's like 1 o'clock, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I was thinking about something and I couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd knock it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, productivity actually increased when we started working remotely, and I think that's what a lot of the other companies are seeing as well, is that, yeah, there's going to be one or two people who just are not going to work, and these are the same people who are going to hold everybody back at the office too. So those people are never going to work no matter what. But a lot of people who are uh, who like their what they do, they will get up in the middle of the night when they can't sleep, and as a instead of wasting time, they'll just open up their compute device, whatever it is, and get to work. So I don't think we're going to go back.
Mm, yeah. And it's funny. I mean, I saw I think this was maybe 2015 when I started to see that shift, especially with a lot of the startups where they were like, you're working from home, you're gonna, as long as you have a stable, connection, you're working from home. And I remember, it's funny you should say that. I remember my dad is very old school, so he came here in the 70s. He worked in the office for 30 something years for a manufacturing company, and I remember him saying, "Oh, this whole work from home thing, it will never work. People, aren't going to do their work. They're going to be, blah blah blah." Here we are. Fast forward now, he's, he's surprised. He's like, he just never thought in all his years
Yeah.
that people would be working from home, and that now he's starting to see that, technology is shifting, and I think most of the traditional companies are starting to see that also. And then let's just be honest, when you're saving on having to pay rent to, some commercial real estate, that's just additional cost savings. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's not just rent. So rent is a small piece of it. It's all the other ancillary expenses that come with
that's
it. I mean,
true.
there's just a
That's
ton of other
true.
expenses that come with it. But the biggest thing that I've seen is when we started working remote, the biggest thing was the gain in productivity that we saw was
Yeah,
huge. Now,
yeah,
we being in IT, we are a little different type of business. I mean, I remember back when we started working remotely, there was a competitor of ours, and they always required people to be in the office. So they always had what they call, yes, I have a tech on the bench. That's what the term that they used to use, and it was literally a tech on the bench sitting there waiting to be deployed. And I was like, how can you stay in business doing that? I mean, that's a resource you could be billing somebody for, and it's just sitting on the bench. Well, if they're just sitting there, let them go home, enjoy, do whatever they want to do. And if you need them, then they can connect remotely and work for. So yeah, we got rid of that a long time ago. But you know now Apple is really, I think, now focusing more and more on the enterprise side of things. They're
yep,
making a lot
they
of
are.
investment in managing multiple devices easily. They're trying to make all that entire process easier. So you provision a device, and then you manage it, you support it. You need to be able to support, instead of one or two devices like in the consumer market, you should be, you could be supporting 40, 50, 100 devices. And so now they're putting those tools in place that enterprise IT needs to be able to manage these devices, and they're making a lot of investments in that.
I think
It
they talked about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think to your point, as far as the investment, I've been watching um, Apple and a few other companies now. The whole thing, and again, I tell people Nadeem was, you know, forward thinking in this with the adoption of 5G as a key element, and with platforms across the board. You're seeing even my internet is 5G. It uses 5G. I don't use the regular coax or cable, whatever. So I think that the emergence of 5G was almost a game changer
Yeah.
in how companies do business now. Yeah.
Yeah, so we haven't really seen the full benefit of 5G yet. Once it
Mm,
is ubiquitous, once it is deployed everywhere, that's when we'll really start seeing the benefit of 5G. I mean, think of it like a device on you that's always connected no matter where you are.
yeah,
Those kind of, I mean, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. There's still a lot of you know, spots where we don't get any access, we don't get connectivity. But I think with 5G and the amount of bandwidth it's going to give us, it's going to be, if you're on planet Earth, you have coverage.
yeah, yeah,
So, uh, you know, and but if we don't get to 5G, and of course, that's a whole nother side of things. But even if we
yeah.
don't get to 5G, I think Apple is ready to play in the enterprise space.
Big, yeah,
They've been thinking about that, and they've been kind of retooling their back ends. They're ready for it, and um, they are primed for it because pretty much everybody in the workforce uses some kind of an Apple device.
yeah. That's
Uh,
true.
so, but yeah, so I mean, and then Apple always does something that's unique. So it's not, Apple may not always invent stuff, but they always make existing stuff better, right? Like
Hmm.
like the AirTag that they just came out with, right?
Yeah,
So the ability of the AirTag, even if it doesn't have connectivity, but it's hopping off of other iPhones or iOS devices around it to broadcast its position. I mean, that's you know
yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, it's a technological hurdle where even if AirTag is not directly connected to a Wi-Fi access point somewhere at a Starbucks or whatever, it can still broadcast its location because of these people with iOS devices around it.
mm,
So, I mean, you have all these devices, so might as well make use of it. So it's creative thinking,
it is.
and Apple is good at things like that, where they will do something creatively as opposed to going with the status quo and just doing what everybody else is doing. And that's what back in the day, people were laughing when. I think when Apple got rid of the headphone jack, people were laughing, and people laugh every time Apple gets rid of something. Back when they got rid of floppies, it was the same thing. Then they got rid of the CD-ROMs, it was the same thing. Then they got rid of the headphone jack, it was the same thing. People laugh, but at the end of the day, people who are laughing, they fall in and they do the same thing. So, so the thing is, Apple, that in that sense, Apple does take bold steps, and they're like, hey, this technology is going to hinder us in making progress. We're going to cut it off. Deal with it. This is what we're going to do. um, and it's been working well so far. But yeah, I mean, I think the market is ready
Mm,
with all these devices and people wanting more portability. It's prime time that Apple step up the game, get into the enterprise space, and allow enterprise IT departments to manage these iOS devices across their organization, which are now, a lot of them are now remote. And I think that's it's time that Apple step up the game on that. Now,
nice.
that doesn't mean that Windows is going away, or all these other OSs, Linux and things like that are going away. No, they're not going to go away. I mean, you know, Apple, I mean, Microsoft is doing a lot of things as well, so that's going to stay. But the strategy is slightly different. So Microsoft is kind of more pushing towards the cloud. So think of it like you can use any device you want. You want to use your iPad, that's fine, but you will always have access to a Windows device in the cloud, and we'll manage that for you. How's that? So,
Well, that's a plug, if you will.
well, by we, I mean, Microsoft. That's what Microsoft is thinking. So, and they're
Right,
they're
right,
with
right.
WVD, they're allowing you to have your own Windows machine in the cloud. So it doesn't matter what device you're interfacing with. Behind it, you still have Windows and the ability to run any Windows app that you want, and that's where we're getting to.
Nice, nice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, You've heard what we talked about here, but on May 13th at 9 a.m., I want to invite you to come on and hear some more things. Actually, come with questions. Nadeem is going to give a little bit of a presentation. We're not going to be long drawn out, but more importantly, Nadeem wants to answer questions. This is going to be a very nice Q&A session during that time. And if you have questions, lingering, pressing questions, please feel free to come on Ask Nadeem. Like he always says, if he doesn't know the answer, he'll find the answer. And I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, and like I said before, the presentation is only going to be 20 minutes, but we're going to have a 10-minute Q&A session at the end of that, and 30 minutes. It's a hard stop, so we're going to start at 9 o'clock. We're going to end it at 9:30, and we're going to get all your questions answered. So come with your question. If you can send the questions ahead of time, that's even better.
That's even better.
But if not, we'll do it real time. I mean, we'll be on the air. You ask, and I'll answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer. But yeah, that'd be we've never done this before, right? So we're we're just trying. We'll see how it goes. If it works out good, great, we'll do it again. If it doesn't, we'll try something new. But that's all we're doing. We're just having fun. I love talking about technology. So the more questions people ask, the better it is. And I will go on and on. I mean, all kinds of technology, whether it's computers like personal computers, to whether it's a computer in a car or the network in a car. People don't realize there's a lot of technology in pretty much anything. I mean, a refrigerator. The friggin' refrigerators now have tablets on them. I mean, refrigerators can, hey, you're getting down on milk. I better order some for you.
Right. And it's interesting. I think LG has a refrigerator that actually instantly connects to Instacart, and with the cameras, just like you said, if it sees that it gets down, it puts it in your shopping cart. That's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and so we're trying to get to a point where our input is not needed when it doesn't need to be there. I mean, it's like ordering milk. If a fridge can learn your habit that, hey, you always try to keep a gallon of milk in your fridge, well, then it can order it for you. I mean,
Right.
and it's like Amazon tried something with their little dots. Remember those dots?
I remember
So
those. Yeah.
yeah, you can have it in your laundry room, and as you get low on your detergent, just push that little dot.
Yep.
It'll come in. Next day you have your detergent. So, but even better is if something can automatically order that detergent for you as it gets low, instead of you having to push that dot. So I think with 5G and this connectivity that we're getting, and we are going to get there. It's just I mean, right now there's just so much happening, and I don't know. I've been saying this for years, and every year it's better than the year before. Technology is going faster. Things are getting done faster. I mean, the pace of discoveries and advancement is ever increasing as time goes on. It's just mind-boggling. How long will this pace go like this? I mean,
Continue. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like the more technology we have, the faster we are inventing more things. It's like, wow, when is it gonna stop? But no, it's really, I mean, the times we're in, it's really mind-boggling. I mean, just 10 years ago, some of the things we have, we couldn't even have dreamt of. But it's like we are slowly being boiled like frogs in a thing of water. We don't even know it, that we have what used to be science fiction just 5-10 years ago is reality, and we don't even realize it. And I mean, if you take something from today, take back 10 years, people will think it's magic. It's that. I mean, it's mad. It's going to be like magic for them, because they won't be able to get their heads around it. So that's what it is. I mean, I just get excited when it comes to technology, and any kind of technology. I mean, it's not just computers. I mean, any kind of technology, and I try to try to stay up on all kinds of things. Whether it's a CAN bus in your car, or whether it's a uh, Cat 5 cabling in your office, or Cat 5e or Cat 6 cabling in your office. So but yeah, join us May 13, 9 a.m. It'll be great. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll have some. I think we're doing some giveaways too. We're doing
Yes,
some
we are.
drawings and stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun. And if it goes well, we'll do it again. We'll see how it goes, and then if not, we'll try something different.
Awesome.
So until next Friday, everybody, have a great day. Be safe out there. Hopefully, I'll make it through the weekend. I just got my
Yeesh.
shot, so I'll make it. I mean, the
You
first
will.
time I got my shot, it was bad, but people were saying I probably had antibodies already in me, and that's why the first shot was bad. So hopefully, the second shot's not going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I have the weekend to prepare for it. So so have a good one, Mac, and
Yes, sir.
see you next week.
See you guys.